So, you're starting a new game in Vintage Story, but these world generation options have your head spinning? Well, buckle up and let's go through them together. First of all, I want to mention that most of these settings we're going to go over can be changed after world start, but certain settings, like world generation settings, will only affect new chunks, not places you've already explored, which can have weird effects, so don't rush the world making process in that area. Another thing, and this is important, it's okay to change your mind after you make your world. It's okay to go into creative mode on your survival save. It's okay to download a mod in your mostly vanilla world. Don't feel pressured to play Vintage Story a certain way. I am giving you permission to have fun. Most settings are easy to understand, even if you've never played Vintage Story or a game like Vintage Story before, and each setting has its own description when you hover over it. Vintage Story has a lot of information, but it has exceptional tooltips. Don't be intimidated, be patient, and utilize the tooltips and you're inevitably going to succeed. That being said, let's go over a few of the more obscure but no less important settings. First off is player spawn and death. This, once again, is pretty self-explanatory. Player lives is where you would go to create a hardcore world. Starting climate could give you a tropical or ice sheet type start, and random spawn radius can mean you respawn up to 10,000 blocks away, if you like that sort of punishment. Survival Challenges tab is where things get interesting. Block gravity can be toggled and pairs well with the cave-in mechanic. You can toggle lightning, starting fires, underground farming, and creation of liquid source blocks. True winters will affect crops and animals in winter seasons, making them less productive. Similarly, body temperature hardiness will dictate how quickly and at what temperature your character starts taking freezing damage. You can adjust other aspects of your character, like increasing health, regen, hunger, lung capacity, and walk speed. Nothing wrong with going fast to get places or slowing down and enjoying the ride. Other creatures besides yourself have modifiers as well. Certain animals by default will be hostile to you, like wolves or bears. But turning creature hostility to passive will make them attack only after being provoked. It's a good option until you're more familiar with combat mechanics and timing. You can even turn the hostility off completely if you can't be bothered. Prospecting pick node radius is going to mean nothing to a new player, but it's one of the most important settings to know when it comes to searching for underground ore deposits. When using short range setting, it will tell you if there's any ore in an X radius. The higher the radius, the easier it will be to detect ore, but it might take slightly longer to locate the actual vein. 6 blocks is about right in my experience. Micro-block chiseling is for you builders out there. If you want to be able to chisel the world, make sure you have most cubic blocks selected. Otherwise, wood, stone, and bricks is probably sufficient. Color-accurate world map will make your map in full color, rather than the sepia it is by default. This can make it easier to locate certain types of materials or structures, but it's mostly just personal preference. Lore content is whether or not you will get ruins or storyline buildings, quests, and structures. Assuming your lore content is on, clutter can either be obtained by breaking it, by cooking up a vat of glue and using it on the objects, a pain but balanced, or not obtainable at all if you want to remove the temptation. Next up is Temporal Stability. Temporal Stability is a Vintage Story mechanic similar to Sanity in other video games, and is affected by many things including temporal rifts, temporal storms, or sometimes just staying underground too long. Losing your stability will deteriorate your connection to reality and strengthen the pull of the rest world, which can eventually spawn nightmare monsters until its stability is regained. This feature, of course, can be turned off. Temporal rifts are cracks in reality that will spawn rest monsters out of them periodically, or drifters. They appear and disappear depending on the current rift activity, which is like weather and changes frequently. Normally you can see and hear these rifts, but you can change how they interact with you in the world. Also like the weather, you can experience temporal storms. A temporal storm is like an invasion of the rest world, where the line between realities is weakened. Monsters will spawn endlessly during this time, though you can change the default length of the storm, remove them completely, or allow yourself the option to sleep through them. Lastly is temporal gear respawn uses, and if you're new, you should know the keyword there is respawn. Using a temporal gear, an item found in the game, on the ground will set your spawn location for a number of uses, or infinitely if you decide. Let's talk world generation. Most of these I wouldn't mess with too much unless you have a strong handle on how the vintage story worlds are. However, I do want to point out a few specific options you may want to tweak. All preset worlds have a maximum world height of 256 by default, but that can be raised up to 512. The default height is balanced for survival, so going higher or lower than that can make survival trickier by changing how ore deposits spawn. However, for creative worlds, a larger world height could be useful for massive builds. Just make sure your computer can handle it. Your world is not infinite, even if it feels like it. It defaults at 1 million blocks wide or long and caps out at 8 million blocks, though you can probably safely bring that down to even 256,000 blocks. If you do get to the edge of the world, you can just yeet yourself right off of it and fall into the void and perish. If that's something you're concerned about, you can make it so the edge of the world is blocked by an invisible border. But I don't know how relevant that would be. I mean, you'd have to be crazy to travel 130,000 blocks to get to the edge of the world.
It's safe, come on.
I mean, that'd be several hours.
I don't like this at all.
Even with a bolt, who would do that?
Dude, what are you doing?
I want to throw a rock off it.
Yeah, throw it out the window.
But I can't watch it go down.
Anybody at any moment could just tap you out of there, sir.
Anyways, moving on. Climate distribution will give you a typical north-south hot-cold biome distribution versus just patchy climates from chunk to chunk. It's suggested you keep this on, but it might be fun to turn it off for a randomized chaotic playthrough. With climate distribution on comes polar equator distance. This is how far you have to travel north or south to reach the equator. If you're wanting to get to tropical or polar regions with their respective flora and fauna more quickly and easily, keep this low. Personally, I wouldn't go over 50,000 blocks, and I prefer to be around 25,000 blocks. Story structure distance scaling is how far you will have to travel between quest locations. 100% estimates it will take you about 2.5 real-life hours to go between all locations. And that's not accounting for being distracted by every ruin, tree, mushroom, and rock you see along the way. So, yeah, adjust that accordingly. The last tab is for multiplayer servers, which, if you're starting a server, you might want to watch a bit more in-depth video on this one. For a newer player just learning the game, I would suggest the Exploration preset. You can start off with more health, lung capacity, and you keep inventory on death. In addition, your food spoils less quickly, your tools have a higher natural durability, and you have infinite respawns. As for the environment, your winters are milder, animals are friendly and less provoked, you can collect items from ruins without breaking them, you can farm underground, and trees grow twice as fast from saplings. There are no temporal storms, and you don't have to worry about your temporal stability. Starting ores like copper and tin are easier to find, and your prospecting pick can detect ore in an 8-block radius. If I were to change something, I would probably change the maximum world width and length, and then drop the polar equator distance down to about 25,000. I might also increase your walk speed to normal or slightly faster, and add the color-accurate world map. As you get more advanced, try some of the other presets, or make your own. I hope you found some of that helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have different preferred customizations, or if you have cool world start ideas. I'd love to hear them. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Are you going to help me with my outro? Is that what you're doing?